Hello, and what is going on today, guys? Tomcat here, and today we are back in Forza Horizon 3 for a off-road build. Now, this truck has pretty much already been mostly built. We're going to take it into the garage and do a couple of little things before we take it back out again. But this truck was actually a bit of a project that I wanted to do for a while, because all of these Ram Runners come factory four-wheel drive, right? They come factory four-wheel drive, and I was like, well, wait a minute. Let's swap it to rear-wheel drive, make it a pre-runner, and then put some off-road race tires on it, make them super wide, and take it out in the dirt and have fun. And while we're at it, may as well put a Viper engine in it, because honestly, this truck is actually pretty sluggish with the factory engine that it comes with, and that's in part due to the gearing. It's got really, really long gearing, and it doesn't really lend itself well to the truck. It makes it feel, like I said, very sluggish on the road especially, but off-road as well. So to help that, we swapped out the gearing and we bumped it up to, I believe, 456 gears. The 456 gears helped a lot, but what really helped was the 8.4-liter Viper V10 that we put under the hood. Now, as far as the drivetrain goes, it's just race everything: race clutch, race gearbox, race drive shaft, race differential. And in doing that, we've kind of made it's weird, because in building this truck, I actually think it's more fun as a rear-wheel drive truck than an all-wheel drive truck, because all-wheel drive, you kind of, or well, four-wheel drive, I guess you could say. In a four-wheel drive truck, I'm thinking more about trails. I'm thinking more about, you know, rocks and hill climbs and stuff like that. In a when I think desert, and when I think, you know, when I think desert, when I think off-road, like gravel back roads, I think of a rear-wheel drive truck, a lifted rear-wheel drive truck that's got some long travel suspension, so it can soak up bumps no problem, and I think of a truck that's just a hell of a lot of fun. That's what comes to mind for me when I think of the type of off-road terrain that we have mainly in Forza Horizon 3. Now, when you go out to the Outback, yes, there are some areas where you could do some rock crawling, which there is a video on that coming very soon. But you could do some rock crawling, you could do some spin tires-ish kind of stuff, but what this truck was built for is to be a race truck, on the dirt. And yeah, my first pass through this drift zone, I kind of bombed it the first time. I went outside the course. I hit flags. It's like I'm fine at the drift zones on the street. It's in fact the one by the Byron Bay Horizon Festival. I've got well over 100K points on that particular drift zone. But when it comes to this particular truck and the off-road drift zones, it's just a little bit weird to get used to, because the race off-road tire compound is very sticky. It's very sticky off-road, like way stickier than you might think. So it's definitely something that you have to work out like, well, how am I going to do this, right? Like, how am I going to get this, like, actually properly done? But if you go into it with enough speed and you just rip the handbrake, you can get it done way easier than you might have thought. I mean, we're only going to get a 2-star rating on this particular drift zone, but it's still, you know, it's still a 2-star rating, and we still got some fans for it, so it's all good with me. Now, later on in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys, because it is in the title, and I'm sure you guys at this point are wondering where it is, I'm going to show you guys an area that I found that's just amazing, amazing, amazing for getting massive, massive amounts of points off-road. And the thing is, I did it without a skill song, but if you do it with a skill song on, holy crap, you will be banking skill points like crazy. I mean, you will literally just be banking tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of skill points. So I highly recommend checking it out. But before we went over there, I had to come to the dunes and see how this thing did on dune jumps. And as long as you go off them straight, it does them really, really well. I mean, it really does. As long as you go off them straight, the suspension soaks them up super well. The suspension on this truck is still factory. I haven't changed it whatsoever. I haven't changed the setup. I haven't changed the height. I haven't changed the dampening. This is how this truck comes from the factory. And you know what? To be honest, it's a really damn good dune jumping truck from the freaking factory. I love it. It's so good at what it does that I mean, you could go and modify the suspension, sure. You could go and modify it. You could make it a little bit better for certain things, but you could also take away some of its advantages for other things. So I think the factory setup does such a good job at soaking up bumps that if you're just looking to have a truck that you can take out and drive and is fun in the desert, this is exactly the way to go. And the other reason why I recommend swapping it to rear-wheel drive over all-wheel drive is you drop a lot of weight. You drop a lot of weight out, because you don't have to have, you don't have to have a transfer case. You don't have to have a whole bunch of other parts up in the front end with the front axle and stuff like that. Well, not necessarily front axle because it's independent. It's got CV joints in the front, but still, you can get rid of all those parts and get rid of some of that weight and still have a truck that's super fun to drive off-road, and you'll never have a grip issue because of these race off-road tires. So it's kind of a win-win situation from both sides for this truck. Now, the dunes are definitely, like, while they are a fun part of using this truck, and while they do lend themselves well to this truck, it's not quite the best thing for this truck. They're good, and this truck does them really well. But what I would say this truck does the best is literally just flying across the countryside in, like, and changing environment types as it goes. Because as you'll see in a minute, we're going to leave the desert, and we're going to head into a little bit more of, like, the, I guess, prairie, I guess you could say. And when we start flying across that, this thing soaks up bumps so well. It just bounces over stuff with no problem at all. It barely loses any speed either. That's the other big thing, is that it barely loses any speed as you're going across the landscape. It's actually really, really impressive. Now, this particular area, I mean, we're not quite to the area where you get a lot of scoring yet, but just making runs across, like I said, like the prairie in this particular type of truck, oh my god. You've got so many points to be had. You get wreckage points and landscaper points for just driving through these bushes. You get airtime points. You get points for hitting trees. Not necessarily all trees, but trees that you can knock over. And, I mean, if you throw in a couple of drifts in there, too, you can keep your combo going for, like, forever. And it's such an easy way to get points. I can't stress it enough how easy of a way to get points this is. And the thing is, if you can't drift, or you're not very proficient at it yet, then go do this. If you want to get a ton of skill points, go do this. Build a Ram Runner, go off-road, and go, like, literally right to where we are on the map right now. Just to the, I believe it's, I would say, northeast of the desert. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's northeast of the desert. I could be completely off on that, but that's what it feels like to me when I run it, like when I run the map in my head. But I just know it's nearby the desert, and you guys can see kind of generally on the map where this is. But it's so easy to get points here. So easy. If you want skill points, this is how you do it. Like, no joke, this is how you do it. If you want skill points and you want them now, come here, bomb around in a Ram Runner, or really any other truck, but a Ram Runner is probably the most fun way to do it, especially a rear-wheel drive swapped Ram Runner. I mean, we're already at 41,000 points times 5, and still going up. You throw in drifts here and there, throw in jumps here and there, hit some of the stumps and trees and stuff like that, and if you find a hill, jump it. And that's the thing, I had no idea that was that freaking high of a jump. So you get ultimate air off that, you get air bonuses, you get pretty much everything that you could get points-wise. Just, you get points thrown at you and thrown at you and thrown at you constantly. So it's a really, really fun area, and it helps a lot. It really does if you're trying to get skill points. But if you guys did enjoy this video and this, I guess, sort of build and sort of showcase of a vehicle, don't forget to click that like button. Tell me in the comment section down below what you guys thought of it. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next one. Talk to you guys later, and I hope you guys enjoyed.